Well, it's a given that no two people think alike. No two people are going to have the same approach to making music, producing, or mixing. Everybody's going to have their own likes and dislikes, their own tastes, their own workflow methods and approaches, which they've chiseled over time, believe in, and endorse when they work, because that's the very ground on which they base a career or try to base a career. So, what am I talking about? I want to talk about something which might be a common factor or should be a common factor for all forms of thinking when it comes to music and music related services. We are in service of music. So, which is called enjoyment or intuition. So, what do I mean by that? I mean that with the plethora of tools available today, we can visually see, measure frequency responses, dynamics, issues with audio, spectrograms, what have you. All of that's available today. And these undoubtedly are great tools. And they all have a place, an application. Hence, they sell, hence, they are popular. There's no doubt about it. There is, though, another aspect which I think, as I see various videos and approaches, I see that nobody ever talks about that, or it's kind of gone missing in the last few years. And that's all about the fun, intuitive approach to making music and mixing. Remember when you were playing by ear, when you picked up a guitar or a piano, and you haven't taken any training, and then you plonk away at it till you find something. You discover music, you discover tunes, you replicate what you've heard, and in that aim to become the genius musician, you fall short and you become something else. That magical mode of discovery, flying blind, I'm talking about that. So, this is a video about intuition, and it's about the joy of, mixing a record and making music. So I think our natural instincts serve us pretty well. We tend to forget that our own natural instincts, our ears, our psychology, our approach to things is a very powerful tool built into us. It's something that is given to you in many cases. So, it's like opening a piece of gear and finding your way into it. If you open a mixer, you open a new compressor, you see the basic things, the attack release. That's how I discovered compression is by moving the ratio knob, is by, moving the attack release knob and finding the sweet spots by ear. So there was a massive amount of joy in doing that, because there weren't numbers I'm reading. There wasn't a pre-process which I have to go through before I can actually mix or enjoy. So like I said, of course, there are some invisible energies in sound which are not heard. And unless clear technically, they might not give you the result that you're looking for. I mean, I'm talking about using high-pass filters and things like that, even low-pass filters in certain cases, cleaning up the area, the science of making music, the science of technology and all of that. Once you learn the basics of that and you get that out of the way, I think it's important, at least to me. Again, like I said, I don't speak for everyone. I just speak for myself. But I see this diminishing, need for the enjoyment of just, opening a piece of gear, be it hardware or a plugin, and just tweaking away to see, what gels, what fits, and moving on to the next thing. And basically by intuition, by ear, connecting with the music, connecting with the tracks, and flowing through. I personally feel, again, over-analysis of audio tracks, whether it be too technical playing inability or, too much of, visualizers and things, they do, for some reason, I think, take away from the joy and the fun. Because then it becomes about perfection of something that you visually need to satisfy, which sometimes doesn't even translate actually in mixes. I know personally that in my case and in many other so-called appreciated musicians and engineers and producers in the world, they really don't actually have a very technical approach at all. Recently, there was an interview by Rick Rubin. And you saw what he said. He said, I just flow. I don't even know the technicalities, but he is where he is. A lot of people made fun of that, and some people really understood what he meant by that. Firstly, he was being really humble, and people forget that. People tend to compare themselves with, very experienced people, thinking that they're at the same level sometimes, forgetting that maybe that person is just being humble and generous. So I think the takeaway from that interview and from various other people that I've met in my journey is that the most important thing for them was to connect with music, was to connect, which did not involve any technical gear or aspects of that. The most important thing was that spiritual connection, that deep connection with sound and music, and how the bass flows into something, whatever genre you into, drums, vocals, where it's going, where it takes you, how it elevates you. And then come in the tools. Like I said, for certain problem solving situations, very analytical tools are required. You can't do without them. And in fact, they're a boon today. We didn't have them yesterday. But I think this now just become a race and a fight for tool analysis and more about audio analysis and all of that to a larger extent than it is about connection. I think there is no talk of connection. There is really no mention, of what do I feel? Do I feel I need a little brightness here? Maybe I should try this. Maybe I should try this plugin, or maybe I should try that. And fly blind a little, wing it a little bit. Unlearn what you learned. Because when you learn too much or you think of something, you basically become a perspective. It's not an absolute. It's always a relative perspective. And if you're having fun with that, then great, you're on the best path. But if you've become this really technical creature without soul, then maybe you might miss out on what music really is about. And I feel that that's the reason why we do music. Music is a joyful thing. It brings joy to people, all kinds of emotions. And forget about the tools. Although we are manufacturers of tools, I would say sometimes just let them be. There does not need to be a plugin on every track. Some things are tracked well and beautiful and just sit, and then you can sculpt everything around them. So that happens. You honestly don't need to high pass every track also. I mean, there's so much of that given in so many videos that, okay, your bass needs to sit here. No, sometimes maybe cut the bass, let the piano have its own bass, It's just another approach of just breaking through. Choose another instrument as a priority and let it be free. So, I mean, I think that's the joy. That's the unhinged approach. It is the, I know it all. And, the more you will start learning that you will feel that you actually know nothing, because you will see many perspectives and you will start seeing the value in each, or at least many of them. So that's my small message, just a video about remembering the soul connection with music. It's nothing to do with any plugin review or overview. I also like to share my thoughts so you can get to know more about me as a person. It's all a game of learning and creating, growing and changing. So I wish you the same. I hope you're growing in your career and in your line of work, in your music, in your production and mixing styles. So I'll see you again in another video. Till then, ciao. Namaste.